What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be doing none other than a good classic. This is basically the Digimon, a glimpse at the meta, just because, again, we need to see what is kind of being built and what is being designed. So without further ado, let's get in the video and talk about it. But if you guys don't know, I do have an Etsy store. If you guys want to get some amazing tokens and sleeves, they are on the website. Just go down below to Etsy's, look and click on my link in the description. It is RMATCG sleeves. It's a small startup that I've been doing, but I have plenty of tokens across the board. I've dabbled in a lot of stuff just to kind of go. We have familiar tokens, we have Jessamon tokens, we have, you know, the Lady Devi X antibody tokens, we have the Fushimi tokens, we have the Kohagoramon tokens, Diaboromon as well. Might update Diaboromon. I think it's one of my weaker tokens, to be honest with you, but the rest look pretty solid across the board. And then we also have the Sukamons. We also do have some Chibi token sleeves. This one will fall off in May. So just taking a look at it across the board, we have a lot going on here for you guys to enjoy for tokens wise. So let's just get into it, shall we? So first off, if you guys don't know, we use a lot of information from a lot of different sources. So the big sources that we kind of like to use in this is, you know, Digimon CG guide, but it seems like Digimon meta is the more go-to right now just because it has a lot more accuracy across the board, which becomes very commonplace, right? So looking at it though, it looks like in JP right now, Royal Knights and Red Purple Imperial Digimon are still staying dominant, but we also have Purple Hybrids still kind of coming up with Dukemon, Fenri Luga, Takamanzuchi, Blue Green Imperial Digimon, Blue Armor, Sakuyamon, this is Jessamon, Aquatic, Sun and Moon, Zephyga, Chronicles, and all the good stuff. Even Necromon. Let's just take a look. Did Necromon top in the last couple days? Not really. Hasn't really been popping off as much as people want to, but occasionally it does. And then you have like Accelerator, which is, if I remember, Excel. Yep. And then we have plenty of other stuff just going through it. So BL Star, let's just see if this is BL Star with hybrid package. Yep, this is the hybrid package, if I remember correctly. Yeah, if we go into this should be the hybrid package. Nope, there's some ghosties. It's Guru. I love how they're just trying to hide half of the junk. It's like, guys, just let us see the deck list. Why are we just doing this here? Oh, this is Spice. This is a Pokemon. You have 4 of those. The 8 play costs something in purple. We can narrow it down to almost anything we need to figure out. But at the end of the day, just taking a look here. Just stuff to think about, right? Now, Xmon did some shenanigans as well at the end of March. So it's just good to see where Xmon kind of falls using Mega Digimon Assembly, Hina's, you know, Unleash the Dragon Djinn is a really powerful card. I feel like once we get the X antibody of this, the 2 cards, this deck's going to pop off real quick. So just keep that in mind when it comes to future deck building. Now, again, like I said, I use Digimon Card Meta as well. They have a great resource and useful data. Again, we need to be able to have the better resources when we come down to tournament results and stuff like that, especially when unification comes. The more the data you get, the better off you're going to be, because I'm going to be able to check out on new decks, anything that's people are being spicy. I think we have almost in BT 21, we should have upgrades to almost 21 decks, if I remember correctly, and it's going to be really interesting. So, again, North America Ultimate Cup, this was the 2nd place list for Red Purple Imperial Digimon. I do like the Beelzemon Blast Ace. This is something I kind of wish I was teching. I think this is a unified, really good card for the deck in general. I think being able to, you know, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. If you have 10 or more cards in trash, delete one of their Digimon instead. You know, This is going to help out just with removals, especially when they start swinging into you when they don't have protections. Just having an answer response sometimes, and then being able to, when attacking by returning, you know, pieces to the bottom of your deck, trash the top of your deck, trash one of your opponent's security cards. That's going to help you out even more than you think. Just getting some of the cycling pieces back and being able to get in that extra bit of damage is going to help. So I definitely like where this deck is going. It has a lot of great synergy, and I think it definitely evolved. I like the Salamon tech, to be honest with you. It gives you another of this Wormmon. To be honest, if they restricted this Wormmon, yeah, you wouldn't be able to play it out from the Shademon's effect, but people would just probably play more Salamons just to compensate. You will be able to do the shenanigans with Sala. So it doesn't really matter which one you kind of hit. You'll be paying, you know, full cost, of course, for these evolutions, but -1, just something to think about. They also do play Sethmon, which is an Armor's Purge, being able to choose one of your Digimon. You may choose one of your Digimon, delete one of your opponent's Digimon DP less than or equal to the DP of that chosen Digimon. That's not a bad tech, because Sethmon being able to remove a threat sometimes might actually be worth it, especially if you can do some of your shenanigans. Now, again, when did this appear up? So they decided to go with, you know, blue toolbox, which is just pure, you know, Mirage Galgamon's bottom end that they've been kind of playing for a bit, played with the Henkumons, which says, you know, this one target can't change, this one's gonna let you multi-attack. But then they go for the biggest one of the level 6 department that I've ever seen. So Zangpangmon, you know, wouldn't expect this in a list, to be honest with you. This super rare. This is a common Regalsmon, so trash to bottom cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. If your opponent has a Digimon with no Digievolution cards in play, you may play a level 3 or a level 4 from this Digievolution without paying its cost. I kind of see where you're going with it. You get to, you know, get in an extra attack, get some pieces back into this stack. Mirage Galga, Bikemon Ace, Invisimon, just because being able to get the body in to security and then it comes out later is really nasty. And then you just basically get a free, you get to go back into one of your megas that you need. So it all has great value and synergy. It's kind of crazy that this deck basically lost Mirage and then somebody decided, I'm going to be a crazy fool and just do a bunch of one-offs. That deck's never going to disappear. Taking a look at Jessamon, we went to a Genkumon focus point. So again, this deck has a lot going for it, which is really good to see. You just want to see everything go off, but just at the end of the day, you have such great cards. You know, being able to produce the protections it gets from Genkumon X Antibody with your Jessamons is just really nasty, to be honest with you. Your opponent has to answer everything right, and if this deck can turtle up and just go off, you're in a good spot. Then we have Cinderellmon doing some shenanigans. Wasn't expecting this girl to pop in, but apparently somebody said, you know what, I'm going to be playing Cinderellmon. This card is getting expensive by the day, and we know this, but hey, you know, if it got first at a locals, hopefully this had at least 8 players to justify this top, but, you know, puppets do puppet things. You know, the overclock ability, being able to, you know, at the end of your turn, by deleting one of your tokens or other puppet traded, this Digimon may attack a player without suspending. Just getting that extra pokes in does matter sometimes. Now, we do have Excel. No stats. This was the top in Brazil. And again, Excel has a lot going for it because the Chaosmon utility is just such a powerhouse. And being able to use the Singularity of Chaos to kind of just make your, you know, partition activate, spit out the bodies, just to reevaluate and go back into your Chaosmons afterwards, really does come up and can be a very scary threat. You do live and die by if you see the Uku. If you don't have these guys, you need to see the Uku just to help filter your pieces as soon as possible. So then you have this deck that won't die. Apparently, Purple Hybrid is coming back in droves. People have decided just to substitute the old mat with the Starter 16 mat. and that's no surprise there. They're also playing Mimi now is an option, which is not bad because, again, now Jackarade can now lead into being a little bit more value. So, yeah, Gallimon, Nidhogg's, then you got the Dusk Volgra combo. You can be aggressive as can be. You just need to find the Dusk as soon as you need to find 2 Dusk as soon as possible so you can loop this correctly, or you're going to be using Calling for Darkness hopefully to get the piece back, or you're going to be hoping that you mill this. You know, warning shots have been bumped up to hopefully do that. And you have the Demonic Devastation just to get into extra attacks, which is not bad. Now, again, this is another purple hybrid list from Indonesia. They look like they're adding BL Star, the BL Star removal package, which does come up from time to time as a deck in itself, right? So just something to think about long term is that how do you want to build the deck and how you can build it is going to be the vital point. I think purple hybrid definitely got a good hit. It didn't remove the deck out of the format at all, though. Now you have Leviaon. Leviamon's been coming in and out, and people have been teching in this new Dark Dramon that we will be seeing shortly. We get this basically BT21, and we'll be completely caught up with them. You know, they have this one being able to on-play when Digivolve and Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete all their Digimon with the lowest play cost, and being able to have an inheritable collision, which comboing that in with Rune Mode is just rude. I mean, yeah, you don't want to really do it, but it is an option nonetheless that you have access to, right? You know, this deck forcing your opponent to play things, using Octomon with the Fushimis, just all lead into very scary things with the Biting Crush. Now, again, this is another deck that's going to probably make some reappearance. You know, 4 rounds means they at least had 9 players, 9 to 12 players, and they got first place for Hunters. So that's something to think about, especially because Hunters is getting new support. You probably will take out this old Omni shout and just put in the second superior, but they are playing Skull Knightmon. This seems to be more commonplace with Hunters lately, just because being able to play a Nene or U, which again you're just going to be trying to get your U for free, is not terrible, especially because early game this thing can lead to being some good early chip damage just to set you up afterwards. Really not bad. And again, U in there, they're playing both U's in this list, so yeah, it's just something that happens. Now, again, we do have another first place with Dexter Ruga. Dexter Ruga just doing some nice shenanigans. They are playing the Dorojin, which if you have a Digimon with Dorugamon in its name, delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers with a play cost 4 or less, then delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. You have Final Zumbergon Punch. Just all good stuff across the board. You have Death X, Dexter Rugas. You know, the deck has a lot going for it because, again, being able to force your opponent to attack and then getting in those chip damages really do matter. Which is really interesting is that they are only using Marvin Jackson and they're not playing, you know, Kosuke, or Kisuke, or Kosuke, which is very surprising to me. I would expect you to at least play that, but they also have a Apostle of Doom Descension is another option. So, just something to think about when it comes down to deck building. But, oh, I already grabbed you, rude. Now, again, Galaxy Sky Dragon first place, looks like 30 players got first place with, you know, the Sky Metal Volcanic Metallic Dramon Dino Gallantmon X Medieval Gallants, plus they are teching Omnimon X Antibody, which again this probably will change up. We won't be playing the Metallic and Volcanic Dramons in the future. We're definitely going to see something like Medusamon in the list instead. So what's probably going to happen is we're going to do Medusa, set up, produce a token. If we can get an Apollomon in that same turn, Apollo swings in, does all its crazy checks, and then boom, blows up something, the token is hopefully the target. You trash the final security, and then you're basically, your opponent's down to nothing. So we can be easily aggressive with the red base version. And again, it's going to be those 1 or 2 things that players will have to make a decision on. Am I going to be red top end, blue top end? Both are vitally strong. The Galaxy Toolbox is a very powerful engine. But again, you can't search your top end, so you have to draw into it. And that is one of the weaknesses of this deck, is that you have to top deck draw into it. And if you don't see the right engine pieces, Shamanmon will not set you up properly, and you're in a bad spot if that happens. So again, if Galaxy Toolbox is also a deck you are fearing left and right, to be honest with you, besides memory blockers and stuff like that, maybe think about adding back Digimon Emperor. That slows this deck's combo lines very quickly, because again, they have to Digivolve and Raising first, which again, all these, their level 4s want to be Digivolving outside of Raising, and if you force them into those positions, that's what happens. So guys, remember, we do have an Etsy store. Definitely get your pet. The dog is sneezing. Petrification tokens, especially if you need them. And we do have the other tokens that you might want as well. There's just a great resources. You know, we also just introduced the Hamon and Umon token as well. So hopefully, guys, you find this useful. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.